we discussed quite extensively the inyan of the oil hamislabish behakeli, and the keli, because the Rebbe says that the oil hamislabish behakeli is be'oin aroich to the keli. So we discussed the principle, the question. The keli and oil are two different worlds. How do you compare one to the other? What's the basis, the ground to compare? So we explained that in fact the keli is very suited to the oil, and it's reflective of what the oil is, but on a keli level. Just as we said, the house and the home, they're worlds apart, and yet there is a way to compare the two. And what we're saying that the home, the oyer of Islamic Bakeli, is shaloi bi'erech to the keli. And this shaloi bi'erech is so profound and so emphatic that actually the home versus the house is in a greater distance than the home versus the oyer, the original oyer, the way it is in the human soul.
I'm sorry, Rabbi Paltiel, could you just repeat this last thing about the home and the human soul?
The home and the human soul, the Gemara says, Odom shein lebayis ein leodom. So it is really reflective of a very profound principle of the human being. The home is only an order of that reality, and therefore it is quite distant of the home as it is mislabish, so to speak, in the house, relative to the way it is in the soul itself. So the Rebbe is saying that the home versus the house, and the home versus the principle of the home, the way it is in the soul, they're very distant. Both are very distant from each other. Yet the distance from the home to the house is greater than the home to the human soul.
Distance from the home to the house is greater.
Right.
And the house here is the keli.
The house is the keli.
The home is the oyer as it is to itself that goes into the keli.
No, not to itself, as it's mislabish in the keli. The home is like the human oyer mislabish in the keli.
And the soul itself, this is the shurish of that oyer.
Right. So the oil that's mislabish in the keli is not as distant from the way the oil is in the soul as the oil mislabish in the keli versus to the keli itself. And we can readily see this. Because like taking the example of the house, or the other examples we had, the house in itself does not necessarily speak of a human quality. It speaks for shelter. And any living creatures needs a shelter. Whereas the home is a completely different concept. And this is what the Rebbe is saying. The home has an element of oir. The house, the keli, approximates oir, but it's not in the same vicinity at all. It's mamash entirely worldly. There is not a living element in it, in itself. Then when you compare the home element, which is representative of the human soul, but representative in a practical world. Comparing that to the way this principle is in the soul itself, it's very distant, but it's not as distant as the Oyer Mislabash Bakeli and the Keli.
This morning you were talking about how the keli still has something, some quality.
That's right.
Comparable.
That's right. That's how we are able to put it on the same platform and compare.
So the house and the home is like the keli and the water, the cup and the water.
That's right. That's right. The house. That's right. The home is the keli of a house with the oil in it.
Say that again? The home is what?
It's like the keli, which is the house, with the home, with the oil already mislabish in it.
Which is the home element.
Yeah. Very mislabish.
There's something about a house that is a perfect fit for the home, like the cup is a perfect fit for the water.
All kelim are like that. As I said, the cup is a perfect fit for the water. That's what a keli is. That's what we discussed this morning.
Whereas that wouldn't be true of a hotel. Hotel is not a home, and it's also not a house. Is that true?
Well, a hotel is a house.
Well, we always make the point that you can't. Adam she'eno bias. If he lives in a hotel, he's still in the category of eno bias.
Right. It's a house, but not a home.
Well, it doesn't really fit the or.
It does not. There's no hislapshus of the human being in that house, because he's a stranger there. Hislapshus means that he becomes united with it. There he's a stranger. All right. Okay, I'm going to say it inside. 5 lines from the bottom on page Lamed Aleph. De-inyan bein arei de hakeli legabe ha'oir. The ein arei of the keli relative to the oir. And we discussed this morning what is the platform on which we can compare the two. And nevertheless, the ein arei of the keli legabe ha'oir hu har beyoser is much greater Meho'ein aroich, then the out of proximity, the ha'oir hamislabesh beha'keili, legabe shorshu mekoirei. Of the oil that's mislabesh in the keli, relative to its source and to its root and source. And so that explains the oil hamislabesh, which means because the oil that's mislabesh in the keli, hare, so there, mashehu begather inyan hasogas hakeli, the fact that this oil is begather, is within proximity of the hasogas of the keli, that the keli can be masik, the keli can understand this oil. Hare zeh rak mitzad hayislapshus b'hakeli. It is only due to the fact that the oil is mislabesh in the keli. We'll skip the parentheses for a moment. Avol be'etzem, but in essence, inyan ha'hasoga shel ha'oir, the principle of hasoga of the oil, hukmei ha'hasoga b'shoshu mekoirei. It is similar to the hasoga the way it is in its source. We said previously and recently, the principle of hasoga means that you have identified something by its borders, by its limits. Oir, in essence, the definition of oir is that it doesn't have borders, because it represents a source, it represents the etzem. And here, this oir is mislabesh in the keli, and now the keli is a vehicle through which the oil expresses itself, which means the keli does understand the oil. How does the keli understand the oil? The oil is bleak wool, is without borders. The answer is because it's mislabesh in the keli. That makes it possible, as a result of the hislapshus, it makes it possible for the keli to understand it. Just 1 second. This means the following. If we were going to explain what is a home, like we said, a home and a house. What is a home without the illustration of a house? Just conceptually. A human being, Odom shein lebayis ein Odom. He has to have a bias. But we don't point to an example what a bias is. Without his lapsus in the keli.
Concept.
Huh?
It's the concept.
Because that's what the ain't Odom, right? That means it's an essential thing in a human being. Explain it the way it is essentially in a human being. So we find that to explain it the way it is essentially a human being without the slapship in the keli would be virtually impossible. Even after it's mislabish in the keli. And then we understand, yes, the human being has that element, but still we fail to understand how that Odom shein lebayis ein Odom, he's not a human being. In other words, the whole human being is expressed in the sin that he failed to understand that. But because we have the moshel from the keli, we have the slapshus in the keli, therefore, through the keli we can understand that oil. What do we understand through the keli? What do we understand through the keli? The keli is a concrete presence in the world. The keli, the house, for example, has a concrete presence, a concrete place. It has to be founded, it has to be built into the ground, it has to be solid, it has to be established as a presence. It cannot be a concept. A concept of a home is not a concept. It's not real. So once you build this house, and you build it solidly, that it is reliable, you see how solid this is. This is how solid the human being is in the world. And if he's lacking this, then he is lacking his presence as a human being in the world. And then we go on to explain, because a human being has this godly mandate in the world. Like we said, the human being has the capability, the idea of ownership. He can own a piece of the world. He has a profound mandate from his creator, from the creator of the world. That's what makes him a human being. And the morsel for that is a house that's founded deep into the ground. Without that morsel, we would never be able to understand this concept. A human being has a godly mandate in the world. What a godly mandate in existence, that he's for real. He's godlike. Now, so order b'tzalmeinu kid museinu. In what way is a human being b'tzalmeinu kid museinu? So here we have a clear illustration of this inyan, that the oyer, ha-mislabish b'keli, can only be understood after it's mislabish in the keli, as a result of the fact of mislabish in the keli. If not for that islabshus, it would be on the same level as understanding the human soul itself. It's an amazing thing, something that we live with day in, day out. When you focus in and try to really understand what is that about, and you can't grasp it, there's nothing to grasp. Yes, your question.
I wanted to know, as far as the human being, is the human being a keli to what? To the neshama?
The human being is not a keli. The human being, we're talking about the oyer, the human oyer.
Okay, human oyer. Another question. I want to ask, the keli limits the oyer? Because the oil is unlimited, the keli is limited.
The keli, that's what the inyan from the keli is. The keli limits the oil.
To compare because unlimited he can't, because he's not unlimited. Unlimited he can't grasp it, but
the keli limits the oil.
So that he could grasp.
What's mean the keli limits the oil? Yeah. The keli limits the oil means that the keli brings out from the oil a very specific quality contained in the oil. That's what the inyan of the keli is. Like we said this morning, you have a cup of water. The cup is a keli for the water. In what way is it a keli for the water? The water itself is part of the all water, a lake and the wellspring. It's part of the reality of water in the world. The water in a cup identifies that water also has a very specific function in terms of drinking and in terms of human drinking. That's what a cup is. So it identifies a very specific, limited function, aspect in the water. It is still water, but it limits the water. Water is not just a place to swim in, or the fish, or that flows to the ground, and the ground veins of the ground. Water has also can be limited to be water, drinking water.
So we have to find one more thing. We have to find the keli for the oil, or the oil for the keli. How does that work?
Both.
Yeah, but if you want to draw down a certain oil, do you think about the keli, you think about the oil. In other words, you don't have the oil. The oil comes from a place that we have no control over. So how does it work? If you make a keli...
One second. This is
different off top. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So he said like, okay, so. The meaning that the oil is beginner hasoga. Hasoga is a keli because of the slaps of a keli. Aber be'etzem, I said on two lines. Aber be'etzem inyan hasoga shel ha'oil hu. But in essence, the inyan hasoga. What is the point of hasoga in the oil? Inyan hasoga means for what purpose does the oil have the inyan of hasoga?
Can I interrupt you there?
Okay.
I'm just beginning to realize maybe what the meaning of this phrase is. But the Inyan Hasoga Ha'oyer does not mean that the oyer understands something. It means that the oyer can be understood. Is that what it means?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing because we said before that the reason that the oil can be understood is because within the oil there is inyan hachochem, the inyan of hasoga.
You're going to have to go over that slower for me. Normally, when you say that there's the inyan of hasoga, it means that thing that you're talking about understands something. Whereas here we don't seem to mean that. We mean that thing we're talking about, the oyer, can be understood by something, the chokmah or whatever. Those are two different. For me, that sounds like two different things. Am I missing something?
There are two different things, but they are one and the same one. The reason that there is a possibility of being massing the oil is because the oil itself has the inyan of hasoga. The oil itself has a point. The oil itself has a point.
Has a point. In other words, the oil itself has something which can be understood and is meant to be understood.
That's right. Has a inyan of seichel in it.
Okay. All right. I'll try that on for a while. Thank you.
That's what he said before. Okay, we read it through 8 10 times. The hasoga is identical to the way the hasoga is in the shoyra shadivir. But then the ein aroich, the distance of the keli relative to the oil, that distance is real. The be'etz is shebe'etzem inyan hasoga v'achokma da keli, that in essence the principle of hasoga and chokhmah of the keli einay b'imhuz hachokhmah shel ha'oyer, is not of the same reality as the chokhmah of the oyer. So we have been discussing this principle over and over again. Lately I gave this illustration. You have a roadway, and the roadway is demarcated on both sides. And that demarcation identifies this roadway. In this demarcation, let me step back a second and illustrate this point with something that we have many times said. We said many times that if you want to be massive, if you want to grasp a table, First of all, what is the central thing on the table? Anybody? Is it the frame, or is it the top, the board on top?
Top.
What's the table? Table is the top. That's what the table. The frame only identifies the limits of the table, but the top is the you want to grasp the table. Can you grasp it by its table quality?
The frame.
Huh?
The frame.
You can grasp it by its limits, not by the table quality itself. You go outside. Now you're grasping not the table. You're grasping the limits of the table, but not the table. This is the pshat that hasoga in the oir. Okay. So back. So the oil, the real inyan of the table is the top. Now this top is also part of the keli. In other words, this type of the table, like we discussed many times, that what is a table? The table is not only its use. The table is that which demarcates a certain area, and people sit around the table, and that gives them a certain interrelationship. And people come together even to sit and discuss things, they all sit around the table. Because it anchors them and gives them a certain interrelationship. This is the oil of the table. The keli part of it is its use, is its physical use. That is this is how we grasp it to the keli. The oil is the inyan is the way it is in essence. Now, but the oil is really the way the human being himself feels about it, not its use, how he uses it, how the human being feels about it. This is a human sense. It's an neshama in you. The same as I explained.
I'm not getting this.
What?
I have to say I am not really getting this.
Okay, let me go back to the other illustration, and you'll get it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. I'll tell you what it is. It's very deep stuff. If you miss 1, 2, 3 classes, you're just completely out of it.
Well, I'm keeping up with the classes, but
listen to this. If you have a roadway, and the roadway is demarcated, when you walk on this roadway, are you relating to the demarcations or on the open pathway?
You're relating to the pathway.
You're relating to the pathway. Demarcations are only identifying the pathway. Let's give it a little bit of a real context. Let's say demarcations are a wall, and there's a wall on both sides. A human being is walking between these two walls, and lahagla dog is running between these two walls. A dog is running between two walls because he cannot go through the walls. If he goes to the wall, he gets hurt. A human being is walking between the two walls because they're showing him how do you get to that direction. They identify the pathway. He's not trying to hit the wall. He goes on the pathway itself. This is Shvat Oir. Even though it's Mishlabish in the Keli. But he is actually not relating to the Keli, he's relating to the Oir. He has an idea he wants to get someplace. And that's where he's going. The fact that he's walking on a certain pathway and is demarcated is totally immaterial. That's not what he's involved in.
This is called Hasaga in the Oyer.
That's right. Like we said many times, if you watch from an Empire State Building down, and you have 2 points, you identify 2 points on the ground. You identify these 2 points relative to each other, not the pathways that lead from one to the other. Because you see the entire reality. The Oyer, the reason that you want to, you at this point you want to go to this one. The reason you want to go to this point is not, okay, this bring it home. It's not because you want to walk through all these streets. You follow what I'm saying? But because they are 2 points in this area that you want that are connected directly. The fact that you need to use streets to access them is totally irrelevant. The real reason why you're able to go from one place to the other is because it's in the same ground. It's in the same reality. Nothing to do with the pathways. This is Pshat Oyer. Oyer means the reality itself. Keli is a means to utilize a certain aspect of the earth, like the borders of the table, or like the demarcations of a roadway. The demarcations do not make the roadway. What makes the roadway? The ground. This is what the Rebbe is saying. The Hasod, okay, Baruch, here's the thing. Look inside. Okay.
Call from education.
Okay, 2 lines from the bottom. Be'etzem inyan ha'asoga shel ha'oyer. In essence, the inyan ha'asoga, the whole concept, the principle of ha'asoga that is of the oil, that the oil has, hu k'moy ha'asoga b'shoshem m'koyre, is exactly the way the ha'asoga is in shoshem m'koyre. Now that we had all discussion, we can fully identify this. Okay, here's this point, the point that Rebbe is saying. Like we said before, you have 2 points on the ground. They may be hundreds of miles apart, but you have 2 points on the ground. These 2 points are related to one another because they're in the same ground, in the same island, in the same country. And then you figure out, how do I get from this point to this point? This relationship at that practical level is identical to the way it is looking down from the Empire State Building. The concept is the same exactly. Baruch?
I'm listening.
But you get the point. You're not
Sounds
walking
like
to
the
the
point-
streets because you want to go to the and you're not walking to the street because this is what approximates these 2 points. No, because they are connected by virtue of their real connection.
So is that the essence of the inyan of the hasaga of the oyer?
Yeah, the inyan hasaga is exactly K'meishu bim koiroi. What's mean bim koiroi? Before you designed streets, before you had urban planning, these 2 places were connected. That's exactly the way you view it after it is completely planned out.
And the streets is like the kalim.
The streets is like the cave.
So what is the hasaga of that level?
The hasaga of that level is, in the keli, is how do you actually proceed from this place to this place?
How do you get from this place to
How
that
do you get
place?
from this place to this place? How do you get,
Not
not
what's
what
the
the relationship,
relationship.
listen, not what is the relationship between these 2 places, but how do I, walking, can get from this place to this place?
The sag of the Keli.
Huh?
That's the sag of the Keli.
That's right. How do I know that I can get from this place to this place? How do you know I can get from this place to this place? The answer is, because they are in the same area, in the same world.
And that's the hasaga of the oyer.
That's hasaga of the oil. That hasaga remains identical before you put in the keli or after you put in the keli. You see what they're saying?
I do, but then then I just want to understand what we're saying. We said a little earlier that really because the oyer doesn't have limits, the oyer as it is to itself doesn't have limits, so that's a totally different thing.
What?
And it gets you from one place to the other.
Do it again. Okay,
We said that the oyer, an oyer doesn't have limits.
that's correct.
But we're explaining here, this is, I guess, just the inadequacy of the marshal. We're saying, look, these 2 places are on the same continent. It sounds like there is some sort of hasaga there.
What is the hasaga?
oyer,
What hasaga is that?
hasaga that they're somehow related to each other.
No, not related. Well, they're one. The etzem. Related means there are two different places, and there is a way to connect them. This hasaga is not on that level. Like I said, when you look down from the Empire State Building and you see 2 points, are you seeing them related, or are you seeing them as one in the same area? You understand what I'm saying? This is a completely different concept.
And that's called the hasaga in the oyer.
Hasaga in the be'etzem, be'shoshu mekoyrei. What is, you come to a place and say, how do I get to this place? How do you know you can get to this place?
All right.
The answer is, I'm asking how to get to a place which is contained within this reality. So I know I can get to this place. The question is how?
How is already the level of keli?
How is right? Is to use the kelim to get there. I told you this story, that the experience that we had. We were driving, in that time we lived in Muncie. We were coming to New York to a doctor in Queens. Queens is the most confusing place under the sun. And we were driving, and we were, of course, lost. And we were very upset because we had an appointment. So we stopped in the middle of the highway, somewhere on the side, and we asked somebody, what about this place? Where? She says, you're still in New York. Don't be so concerned. You're still in New York. What is that? This means because he knew the area, like not by names of the streets, but he knew the area itself. He says, wait a second, you're still in reality. and you're really going in the same. You're going not in direction. You are where you want to be. Now you have to find direction at a certain point, but really you are where you want to be. This is the oil element.
I don't want to monopolize this conversation if everybody else understands it, and I'm the only one that doesn't.
Don't worry about it.
You're not the only one.
Okay, did you hear that?
Okay. And then Yaluz and I are brothers in arms.
All right. So what is still remaining? The more this brings it out. I mean, it's true. We wanted to go, but the whole point of going is to get there, not to go in circles. So we want to get there. So what's still preventing you from getting there?
But this is much better. It's always a question of relating the muscle back to the nimshal. You know, that's because the mishalim bring more clarity, and still the terminology in the nimshal. Inyan hahasaga shel ha'oyer. The etzem, inyan hahasaga shel ha'oyer. So now we're not talking about the streets or the house or the borders of the road, because that's all not the inyan of the hasaga shel ha'oyer, right?
Right.
That's,
And what is the hasaga of the oil?
pardon me?
What is the hasaga of the oil?
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand.
All right.
In the nimshal,
Okay.
hasaga shel ha'oyer, this is like the road itself. This is like
No. Hasaga of the oil is, like I said from just before, wherever you are in the right place. You are where you want to be.
Even if you're lost.
I'm mixing metaphors here. I was talking about the muscle of the demarcations on the side of the road and the road itself. The path. The path is the oil in that muscle, right?
The path is the oil hamislabesh behakeli. This is not the etzem oil. This is the oil hamislabesh behakeli. Okay, so let's see if we can follow this. The path is the oil hamislabesh behakeli. In other words, it has been demarcated through a keli, and it leads you in a certain direction. What is the point of leading you in a certain direction?
You get to the doctor on time.
It is
The point is you're going somewhere.
the point of these demarcations is to map out the entire area. Why are you mapping up the area? Because this area, it's all one place, but it's pretty large. Whatever you're mapping up the same area.
In other words, the oil in that marshal has nothing to do with the path or the demarcations. It's the ground on which the whole thing is being
Exactly. It's the point of the correlationship, of the unity of the entire ground. And that's the oil.
That's oil without the keli.
Without the keli. And then you apply keli to that for what? For a certain function.
That's what I'm trying to understand. What other function could you apply for the or? In other words, what I was asking, the keli makes the or it grabs a certain point of the or. That's what the keli does. It tells you how to get from point A to point B at that particular marshal with the demarcations and the path.
Right.
What else does the or? What happens if I want something else from the or? I would need a different keli, wouldn't I? Would I?
1 second.
So So what do we mean?
One second.
Without the keli, without his lobster.
That's right.
What is that?
Okay. We're going to try to identify it. You have a beautiful home, a palace.
It's hard when you keep moving from muscle to muscle. I'm happy with the path and the demarcations and the ground.
I'm trying to give you a sense. You ask the question, what else does it mean that you have this area? What is the real meaning of this area?
Right.
The real meaning of this area is, let's say, for our benefit, you're in Crown Heights. And you want to live in Crown Heights. You don't want to live in Honolulu. You don't want to live in Hollywood. You want to live in Crown Heights. Whatever in Crown Heights makes no difference. Because that's the reality of the place. This is the Chabad section in the world. There are many. It's a Jewish area. It's many streets. Makes no difference. That's the reason you're living on Eastern Parkway, on Crown Street, or on Montgomery Street. It's not because this is Crown Street, this is Montgomery Street, this is Eastern, but because this is Crown Heights.
So this is the oil without Islavshus Bekeli.
That's right. And then when the oil is mislavish in the keli, you are on Crown Street, and you are on Montgomery Street, and you are on Eastern, and all of these are identical. Because the inyan of that Islam is that you want to be in Crown Heights, period.
And there is a hasaga in this.
What is the hasaga? The hasaga is that there's a certain significance, a certain value, certain spirituality about Crown Heights. Yes?
If I may.
No, you may not.
In your whole description and argumentation here.
There is a hasaga in this oil.
One second, Baruch, your partner in arms is talking right now.
Okay, good.
It would help enormously if in your argumentation you were using the word prestigious.
What?
If you could apply, I have the feeling that we could apply in the concept of ore the word prestigious.
Procedure?
Prestigious.
Prestigious.
You know what's prestigious?
Prestigious.
Precision?
Prestigious.
Prestigious?
Yeah. Like when you define the space of the table, that people are sitting around, and it's beautiful. It has this quality of this beauty, this quality that maybe it would help understand if we could magnify this.
Okay, you want to use the word prestigious? I use the word dignity.
Okay.
All the time. The human dignity, human reality. Anyway, do we get the point now? Beside the oil, think this is so clear now. Here you are on crowns.
Wait. I just want to add another thing here. So now we want to live in Crown Heights. That's the oyer, and there's no specific feeling.
That's right.
But that's supposed to be, there's a hasaga in this oyer, according to the language, right?
That's
There's
right.
such a thing as hasaga in the oyer.
That's
it's
right.
not mislavish in the keli.
That's right. But even if it's mislavish in the keli, the hasaga in the oil always remains the same.
And And what do you mean by the phrase the hasaga in the oyer? The sense of what its meaning is?
That's right. What is it about? Why do you live here? What is it? Because it's Khan Street? Because it's Montgomery Street? What is it about?
But when we're speaking just about oyer per se, the way I understand it, there is no hasaga in the oyer. Just like you can't masig the top of the table.
No, that's right. The hasaga in the oyer is mitzat shoshu makoire. That's what we mentioned the whole time. The whole meaning of hasaga is, what is its significance from its inception?
But that's something which actually can't be, defined, expressed.
That's right. There cannot be real hasaga, a kele type of hasaga. The union of hasaga in the oil is, what does it point to?
So the oil itself is the keli? The oil itself will give you the keli?
I'm sorry, say what you just said again. The hasaga in there, the keli, is what does it point to?
Yeah, what does it point to? What is the point of this whole phenomenon? You're living here in Crown Street. Why? What does it mean that you live in Crown Street?
Not so much what it means that you're living here, but why do you want to live here?
It's the same thing.
Of course, it's the same thing, otherwise you wouldn't be living here. But what I'm saying is, where do you start? From the or, the keli would be the
knowledge before Crown Street was built.
Yeah.
You were living here. Why? Because this is this area.
Oh.
And then the Crown Heights, the Crown Street is exactly the same idea.
So the or, how do you say, picks the keli, brings up the keli as well, because the oil is...
the oil is mislabish in the keli. That's what the oil is mislabish in the keli.
But like you said before, it points to the... Otherwise...
What does it point to?
Want to be here. Why?
To what? What does it point to? Why do you want to be here? What's here mean?
So that, I don't know. But that's what it's giving you.
It means in the Dalet Amos of the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach.
Well, that's it.
That's what it's pointing at.
And that remains whether it is in the keli or not in the keli.
What remains? What remains?
That same hasaga, that same reality, doesn't change whether it's in the keli or not in the keli.
Right. The only thing that changes if you do something about it. Is that what it is?
What?
The only thing that changes if you do something about it?
No, it doesn't change. The oil doesn't change.
Not the oil, the keli.
The keli, we're not talking about the keli, we're talking about the hasaga of the oil. The keli is different. Then the oil is slavish with keli.
I got you. Okay.
How is it now, Baruch?
Yeah, no, this is much better.
Ah.
Me.
Okay.
Baruch, your efforts are appreciated by other people as well, so thank you.